This episode of Trail Boss brings me to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Climbing bareback was not the episode I had planned on when I started. The original game plan was to ride a trail called Mc Lovin, and this was just supposed to be a shortcut to get to the top. But within a couple minutes I realized that this trail had all the makings to be a really fun challenge. As this trail starts to climb, the views become more beautiful. Take them in and save some energy because you'll need them as this climb continues. Halfway up was one of the most difficult lines I've ever filmed. After a short downhill, you'll be back at the water and it'll be time to test your skinny riding skills. There's a bunch of rock bridges over the lowland and they could be a little tricky. It's time to start climbing again, and some of these pitches can get pretty steep. I'll stand for some of them, but for the most part I'll sit and spin because it helps me save energy and there's plenty of traction. This entire next section I'm trying to get my heart rate under control and I can't stop thinking about the upcoming climb. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done and took tons of tries to get. Here it is on the left. It's the A line downhill and I knew it would be too tough to climb straight up, so I looped around the B line and came in from the side. Once I got set, I was able to get a few pedal cranks in and do the big step up to get up. Once I hit, I was fighting for traction. My tires were sliding all over and I tried everything I could possibly do to stay upright. I'd look for every single nook and cranny. It took a ton of balance. And then when I had to cross the well-worn section right here, I basically was putting my front tire on a 2-inch wide little shelf. Crossing this part was terrifying. If I high-sided to my left, I was going down 30 feet, and when you ride this stuff clipped in, there's no room for error. Once I got on this shelf, I knew I was pretty safe, so my game plan was to get here and turn around and then pedal up the hill. But once I did that and I got to this part for the first time, I knew it was too steep and I didn't want to screw this up, so rather than make any mistakes, I just kept hopping to play it as safe as possible. After traversing that rock face, dropping in this was a breeze. It put me off the trail, but I got back on, and it wasn't too long before I made another quick detour for a trials line. After that, it's all about recovery. I was pretty beat from that climb, and I knew I had some more steep faces, so I just wanted to try to relax for a little bit and just take in the ride. This is the section of the trail where you take all your gears and dump them. It gets really steep and there's awesome traction, so you're going to want to just sit and spin and try to save as much energy as possible. On this next section, it's really tough, and here I am hopping again. If you watch my Trail Boss videos, you know that I try not to hop whenever possible, and in this video, I probably have hopped more than every other video combined, and that's just a testament to how tough this trail is. I would have never thought 400 feet of climbing could be so taxing, but when I saw this next little downhill, it was a nice reprieve. It's a tricky little left-hander, it's kind of steep, and I chose to stay to this inside line because it set me up better for this rock garden. Once you get to this point, you could practically see the end of the trail. The only problem is an 18% grade between you and it. So put your bike in the lowest gear you possibly have, give everything you got to grind up this final climb. It's super steep, but once you get up here, the views are spectacular. So sit up, take them in, and get ready to high-five your buddies because you just finished Lower Bareback.